know all of us women be like, I couldn't do it, child. We done did it with somebody, okay? We done took shit from somebody. All you hussies that be like, I ain't taking that, I ain't doing that, child. You ain't never gonna be in no long-term relationship, living or get married. Because you gotta have to take some shit from somebody, some way, sometime. Bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share to Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. Today's looky would be our ultimate animal print turban. As usual, all of our turbans come with a free gift. And if you are not already a part of our book club, please hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube. And for a small monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes, you can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Now, let's continue reading David Ritt's Divided Soul, the life of Marvin Gaye. At the start of 1978, marshals broke into Marvin Gaye's recording studio on Sunset Boulevard, leaving the doors on the sidewalk and shutting down the place because of a $175,000 unpaid back franchise taxes. According to Curtis Shaw, Gordy ordered Motown to pay the bill, thus saving the studio. See, remember what I was telling you about? You know? Sometimes, Gordy is that ninja, okay? But sometimes he's a nice guy. I think it depends on his moods the same way that it depends on Marvin Pooh's mood. Berry Gordy came in, swooped in, and said, look, pay that man stuff, okay? So we can get the F on and have him get back in the studio and create something good. On September 20th, 1978, Gaye signed a lucrative 7-year contract with the company he mistrusted, the label with which he'd been fighting for 7 years. You see that? The crazy mother. You got a problem with the label. You've been complaining about the label, but the label then saved your ass, okay? And I guess as gratitude, you signed another 7 years with him. That's just like getting a girl pregnant that you don't like no more. On October 7th, 1978, Billboard ran a story on 2 Marvin Gaye bankruptcy pleadings filed earlier in the year. His unsecured debts were estimated to be about $7 million. He showed proof of $40,000 monthly income, okay? But his expenses were $34,860, with $1.27 million in assets against $1.8 million in liabilities. My attitude towards reforming my spending sprees isn't any different from my approach to giving up love. This is Marvin Pooh's stance on his money problems. I try, I treat my money problems like how I treat my boogity sugary habit, okay? I mean, from time to time, I try to stop doing it, but I mean, what you want from me? In 1978, he hit the road in the fall, playing to less than capacity crowds. It'd been a year and a half since his last hit, Got to Give It Up, and he found himself struggling for strength to carry on. In November, he collapsed on stage in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and was hospitalized for a few days. The usual reason, physical exhaustion, was given. Was it drugs? Probably so. Whenever I completely crashed, Marvin told me, it was always a combination of things. You can't blame it on drugs alone. Drugs are as much a part of my day as the weather, so you might as well blame it on the weather. It usually involves some fight I just had with Jane. I'm always half hoping she'll feel sorry for me and rush to my bedside. I don't like crashing because I hate hospitals. For me, to wind up in a hospital is bad. It means there's no other place I can find any rest. At the end of the year, he was back in Los Angeles, just in time for the release of Here My Dear. The final 5 years of Marvin Gaye's life were tumultuous, trying to avoid his own traps even while he was setting new ones. He soon became a man without a home, without a woman, and finally without a country. After equivocating for nearly a year, Gaye had finally released Here My Dear at the end of 1978. His worst fears came true. The reviews were hostile, and even worse, sales were poor. Pretentious is too good of a word for this clutter, said the Village Voice. Oof, they mad at you. Maybe they think the same thing I'm thinking. Ain't you married to Jan? Why you so worried about that bitch for? And I don't know you, lady. You're a fine specimen of a woman. Okay, that's what the people told me. But I'm saying, ain't you married to Jan? I'm tired of watching Teddy and Peebo and Michael Henderson get all the glory, he said. Then there's this new cat that people in the industry are talking about, Prince. Doesn't he know I'm supposed to be the only Prince? They say he's sexy and has a high voice that sounds like mine. All these boys are romancing my fans and I don't like it. I'm getting my fans back. I'm doing a straight ahead makeout party album. Oh, he and his film. He is a jealous kind of man. Jealous. It's something with them Aries. Because remember, Aretha Franklin didn't even want her own. Oh, shit, y'all. Dig this. Remember when we read the Aretha Franklin book? How Aretha Franklin was mad as hell at her sister? The sparkle tea, hold tight. Okay, give me 2 minutes. The sparkle tea is that Curtis Mayfield wanted, I think it was Curlin, to sing the soundtrack for the Sparkle movie, right? She went and said, I'm the Aretha. I'm Aretha, not Curlin. Are you crazy? Use me. Curtis Mayfield like, I don't want to touch this shit. I don't want to touch this. Y'all figure it out. Of course, the family conceded and gave it to Aretha. So that must be an Aries trait, child, where they be just stewing with jealousy, or at least Aries traits of those that are in the celebrity world. Okay, let's just say that, because I don't want to put all you Aries in the same basket, because some of y'all are really, really good people. In the first months of 1979, they went through a series of nasty fights. Jan had left him again, and his songs revolved around getting her back. One was simply called Come Back, Baby. He argued in lyrics never released that if God could forgive him, so could she. Life's a Game of Give and Take was another one of those unpublished songs in which he described his mistakes and inability to live without her. Janice came back, but only to be sent off again by Marvin himself, who continued encouraging her romances, thus creating the pain he felt he deserved. And I know all of us women be like, I couldn't do it, child. We done did it with somebody, okay? We done took shit from somebody. All you hussies that be like, I ain't taking that, I ain't doing that, child. You ain't never gonna be in no long-term relationship, live in or get married. Because you gotta have to take some shit from somebody, some way, sometime. Okay, that's just the truth of the matter. And all you bitches, be single for the rest of your life. And don't judge us for tolerating the bullshit, because we do. How you get to the next level is you have to get past a traumatizing experience. Every argument is not a breakup, okay? So just so you ladies know, we all tolerate bullshit at one point in time. Gaye was convinced that Jan was in love with Rick James, a rising Motown star. Slick Rick hung around Gaye's studio a great deal and called his idol Uncle Marvin. I hate being referred to like that, said Gaye. It makes me sound ancient. Yeah, stop calling me auntie, y'all. Stop calling me auntie, even though I am one. Let me shut up. Marvin was also jealous that James's music was scoring with the young market and Marvin's wasn't. Furthermore, for his early successes, Rick had borrowed Gaye's funk spirit and his right-hand man as well. Art Stewart co-produced James' first hit record, such as You and I, which burst on the scene during the very period Marvin desperately needed a hit of his own. Gaye's current songs were sounding too diffused, too cerebral, too personal for the Motown people. Making slight alterations, he invited a few of the corporate executives over to his studio to hear his efforts during the summer of 1979. In the first half of 1979, despite his self-imposed personal suffering, he remained a dedicated writer, devoting himself to his art. Genuinely trying to make musical sense out of his scattered life. Watching him at the studio, his recording technique was a wonder to behold. I have this theory that anyone can sing. If you can talk, you can sing. That's a damn lie, because I know I ain't the best singer in the world. That's for true. But y'all be tolerating me. I love you. I love y'all. Y'all be tolerating my ass. Thank you. Thank you. Gaye's trademark self-harmonies were created with the naturalness of a simple sigh. Ooh, facts. He wove his voices one upon another with the skill of a medieval craftsman. His tapestry of sound, his musical universe was born of the oral vision of extraordinary sweep. He heard himself objectively, which made him his own best producer, a rarity among singers. To some extent, he still had some objectivity about his emotional battles, an objectivity which allowed him to laugh at himself in the midst of murderous pressure. He often sought relief in pornograph, videotapes, magazines, even old-fashioned picture postcards. He also created musical pornography of his own. His dirty songs were usually funny. Dem Niggas Are Savage in the Sack, recorded in 1979, was a comical investigation of the cultural myths of blacks' potent sexuality. A song expressing Marvin's own fear of being unable to live up to the legend. Naturally, the tune was never released, though he loved to shock studio guests by playing it. Gaye always saw himself split in half, a picture he would soon realize on the cover of an album which in 1979 he hadn't yet conceived. The good Marvin and the bad Marvin, the angel and the devil, the masochist and the messiah. For Gaye, it was all or nothing. Now back to the bankruptcy problems. I'm so confused about how David Ritz put this book together, because it's very scattered. It's all over the place, okay? It's like we talk about the bankruptcy, then it stopped, okay? 2 chapters later, we bring the shit back up, okay? It's like all over the place. So it's frustrating reading this book. Bankruptcy court was going crazy, Curtis Shaw said, and I couldn't get Marvin to pay anyone anything. I couldn't even get him to hire an accountant. They were about to close down the works, his studio, his estate, every last asset he had. Shaw made several trips in 1979 to catch him on tour. Nigga, was he paying you, Shaw? Shaw, was he paying you? All the effort in the world, he ain't paying nobody. But Ninja, is he paying you? Funny part. He on the same bill as the Temptations, right? Cool, because you know they come from the same humble beginnings. One of the cats, let me see what his name was. His name was Glenn Leonard, okay? And he was relatively a new member. They go around there waiting in the hall, sitting around, looking, okay? All right, Marvin said he want to see us, so okay, here we are. This nigga didn't come out at all. Marvin Pooh is in his room relishing the fact that Temptations are outside waiting on him. The Temptations? The Psychedelic Shack? Psychedelic Shack, that's where it's at. Psychedelic Shack, that's where it's at. Ah! You crazy, Marvin Pooh. After a while, We was like, wait a minute, we the Temptations. He might be Marvin Pooh, but we the Temptations. And they said they got up and left because it damn near ran into an hour that they was waiting on this nigga. An hour? You got Dennis Edwards waiting a whole hour to see you? Mayo, some mayo, come get these bananas. Hey, don't look any further. It was very much like we were waiting on a prince. I didn't mind at first, but after a long while, we just got up and left. Yeah, F that ninja. Who the hell he think he is? Okay, you the Temptations. Are you crazy? Just as Gaye could be inconsiderate, he was capable of great generosity. So you can't pay the tax man, but you can meet this homeless dude that's talking about, committing an act to hurt himself. How much did he give this? $10,000. $10,000. You couldn't get that to Uncle Sam? Girl. In spite of it all, he held out hope. Once my man wins the crown, said Gaye, everything's going to be all right. He was referring to his fighter, Andy Price, who on September 28, 1979, in front of a national ABC TV audience, took on welterweight champ Sugar Ray Leonard. Minutes before the fight, the next night, Howard Cosell told a nationwide audience that expectations for Marvin Gaye's fighter were high. This could be the surprise upset of Sugar Ray's otherwise remarkable career. Man, that goddamn. Matter of fact, one of Sugar Ray's kids went to Holy Redeemer with me. If I'm incorrect, no. What it was back in the day. Like I said, what happened with DC was because it was so much violence in DC, it was a big deal to move to Maryland. And I was good friends with this girl named Regina. Her father was a very, very big deal in the area. They lived down the street from Sugar Ray, and this was in Largo. Now Largo is some trash, okay? But back then, that was a big deal if you took your family and moved out to the suburbs of DC to Largo. Anyway, minutes before the fight the next night, Howard Cosell told a nationwide audience that expectations for Marvin Gaye's fighter were high. This could be the surprise upset of Sugar Ray's otherwise remarkable career. Marvin was feeling anxious, confident but concerned about sitting in the front row next to Barry, an ex-boxer who had proven himself in the ring, and Diana, a fight fan herself. They, the very people who needed to know that Marvin Gaye was still a champ. If Price could win, said Gaye, I was looking at millions of dollars in future revenue. The punch came, but from Sugar Ray, not Price. He was in shock. Sugar came out there and hit him and hit him and hit him and kept hitting him until he crumbled. Leonard made it look easy, knocking out Price in 2 minutes and 54 seconds in the first round. Marvin absorbed every last punishing punch. He was devastated, depressed beyond hope. The $40,000 purse for Price, as opposed to Sugar Ray's $300,000, didn't come close to solving Marvin's financial problems. It was hardly compensation for the blow to his ego. In the midst of his mood, he had to perform. He had promised to sing before the main event, the Ernie Shavers-Larry Holmes heavyweight championship fight, which followed Leonard Price. On national television, his dress shirt open at the collar, his tie pulled down, his sloped eyes half closed and filled with disappointment and hurt, he delivered a soul-searching rendition of the national anthem, turning a hymn of hope into a cry of despair. Cosell complimented Marvin's pipe, but no praise could mitigate Gaye's blues. The final blow, though, didn't come from a boxer, but from a singer. It happened shortly after Marvin sang at the Black Radio Executive Concert in Los Angeles, where Michael Jackson patiently waited outside of Gaye's dressing room for an opportunity to shake his hand. Remember I told you that he carried Michael Jackson in his prime. He just coming off of, is it off the wall? But anyway, he in his prime. That little boy sat there and waited patiently to see his idol. And Marvin Pooh heard him. Jan ran off with Teddy Pendergrass, Marvin told me. I set myself up for it, just like I set myself up for getting beat by Sugar Ray. But I didn't realize what it would do to me. I couldn't take it. I became sick, seriously sick. This was supposed to be the end of a long, bad period, but it was just the beginning. From the winter of 1979 until the summer of 1980, Marvin Gaye lived in Hawaii, mysteriously reclusive, caught in a state of chronic depression. There he tried to kill himself with a cocaine overdose and also came close to murdering Jan.
Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, I'll tell you when. Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, we'll let you know.
Have not already done so, please remember to like, share to Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. Now remember this, the same people that you meet on the way up will always be the same people that you meet on the way down. My naysayers, my patron loves you, babies. Have a good one.